Discover the incredible journey of a black nurse who changed a millionaire's life in 30 days. Kendra's heart raced as she walked through the bustling halls of Crestview Hospital. Dedicated and fierce, this was her domain. The scent of antiseptic lingered in the air, as the soft beeping of machines formed background music to a world where she thrived. A single mother, she wore her resilience like a badge of honor, her vibrant daughter Mia the heartbeat of her life. Every moment spent away from her was a reminder of their struggle. They were an unstoppable duo, battling the odds of a rough urban neighborhood, where dreams often felt like shimmering mirages, yet, amid all the chaos, Kendra found solace. Her community thrived on connection, neighbors lifting each other up like family. They celebrated hard work and endeavored through tough times. But it wasn't long before she was assigned to care for Henry Bennett, a reclusive millionaire shrouded in silence. As Kendra stepped into his stark hospital room, the tension draped heavily between them. He lay there, cocooned in linens that cost more than her rent, radiating the kind of wealth that held an invisible barrier between their worlds. She sensed the flicker of his prejudice, a reflection of the isolation that wealth had brought him. But she wasn't deterred. She approached with the grace of someone who faced adversity head-on. "Mr. Bennett," she greeted with a warm smile. A mere twitch of his brow made clear he wasn't accustomed to such comfort. She took a deep breath, gentle but unyielding in her role. Days turned into weeks, and the sterile room transformed. Kendra painted stories of her community with words, illuminated by Mia's laughter, how they rallied together, turning struggles into celebrations. Henry listened, eyebrows lifted in surprise. Her passion for her daughter and her fight for dignity pricked at the armor he wore. The cold facade began to melt when Kendra shared her dreams, a simple wish for Mia to grasp the world's opportunities without fear. Then came the day their connection shimmered with possibility. Kendra had just finished reading a report on economic inequality when the hospital fired off a miscommunication. An enticing offer for Henry's philanthropy landed in her lap, suggesting she could have financial backing to launch a health initiative back home. The impending change filled her with trepidation. It would mean stepping away from her community, possibly leaving behind the very roots that defined her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. This moment ignited something deep within Henry. He blinked, grappling with the reality around him. He realized that Kendra's loyalty and love for her community ran deeper than his fortune. An awakening was dawning, empowering him to contemplate what true wealth meant. Standing there, Kendra felt a pull, caught between ambition and loyalty. She saw Henry for who he truly was, a man grappling with loneliness and privilege. Could she bridge this vast gap between them, or would ambition pull her under? As their worlds collided, hope hung in the air like a thin thread, ready to snap. Would Kendra stay true to her values, or would she let opportunity sweep her away, stolen from the very community that shaped her? Their hearts beat in sync, but only time would tell if harmony could thrive amid discord. The room fell silent, anticipation hanging like a cloud. The next move would change everything. Kendra's thoughts raced as she stood rooted in Henry's room. The silence echoed around them, thick with uncertainty and unspoken words. She sensed Henry's struggle beneath the surface, the weight of his solitary life pressing down like a heavy blanket. Could she really take that leap? The dream of making a real difference back home danced tantalizingly close, but the thought of leaving Mia made her stomach twist with anxiety. Henry shifted in his bed, breaking her reverie. Kendra, his voice was low, wavering against the vastness of the room. She looked at him, her heart pounding. "Do you really think you can make a difference?" His question hung in the air. It wasn't just curiosity, it was a probe into her soul. "I believe so," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. But it won't be easy. Our community needs support and understanding, not just money. Henry nodded, his expression softening. The millionaire who had once seemed so far removed from her world was beginning to show signs of recognizing the plight they all faced, one rooted in humanity rather than finances. "You're right," he said quietly. "The world could use more people like you. But how do you plan to achieve that?" "By starting local," Kendra said, her voice gaining strength, filled with the fierce determination that fueled her every move. "When one person rises, it lifts others, too. I want to set up health workshops, provide resources in our community." His brow furrowed as he absorbed her vision. "And you think I can help with that?" "Yes," she confessed, her heart racing. But her eyes were steady. "You have the means. With your backing, we could change lives." For a moment, they lingered in the silence of shared understanding. A bridge built on vulnerability and ambition stretched between them. But as the thought of embracing this opportunity seeped deeper into her core, a fresh wave of doubt crashed over her. "I need to think about Mia, about my home. Can I meet her?" Henry's question took Kendra by surprise. "Mia? Yeah, I mean, she's part of your world. If I'm going to help, I should understand what it is I'm supporting." Kendra's heart fluttered. "You'd want to meet her?" "I do," he said, a hint of a smile breaking through his usually serious demeanor. Just then, the nurse entered, taking the moment back to the practicalities of his care. Kendra took a step back, her mind racing between possibilities and uncertainties. Was it too soon to bring her daughter into this? She wanted the best for Mia, but she also felt a fear that was hard to shake off. As the nurse took Henry's vitals, Kendra felt a surge of hope mixed with confusion. Meeting Mia could open doors, or shatter illusions. What if Henry couldn't keep his promise to genuinely support their community? What if this was just another unfulfilled opportunity? After the nurse left, Henry caught her gaze. "You're thinking too much, Kendra. Trust your instincts." Easier said than done, she muttered under her breath, but the sincerity in his eyes made her wonder if he truly was beginning to understand. Would she take him up on the offer? The thought of combining their strengths stirred something inside her. But how far would she go to fulfill her dreams without losing everything she held dear? As the day faded into night, she stood at the edge of a decision. With the weight of her family and community pressing on heartstrings twisted with ambition, she felt herself teetering on the brink. Would she have the courage to invite Henry into their lives and their struggles? And if she did, what would that mean for Mia, for their very future? The air was thick with expectation, and as Kendra locked eyes with Henry, she knew the answers would come quickly but not without a price. Kendra left Henry's room with a mix of excitement and dread swirling inside her. She stepped into the dimly lit corridor, her footsteps echoing softly against the tiled floor. Each step felt heavy, as if the weight of the decision she faced was actually pulling her back. Could she truly blend her worlds? Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. It was beautiful, yet it reminded her of the long evenings when she would sit with Mia, reading stories and dreaming of the future. Her thoughts drifted to her daughter, who was the heartbeat of her life. Could introducing Mia to Henry open doors, or were they better off as strangers leaning on hope from afar? Kendra took a deep breath as she approached her car. The small vehicle seemed like a capsule containing her ambitions and fears. Glancing in the side mirror, she caught a glimpse of the woman she used to be, filled with dreams but often overwhelmed by the reality of life. She shook her head. No more second-guessing. Driving home, the streets she'd known all her life felt like a familiar path, yet each house she passed appeared new under her expanding vision. What if those workshops could really happen? What if Henry's support could change lives? It was intoxicating, but the thought of letting Mia meet someone so different sent a chill down her spine. Was it fair to involve her daughter in this maze? 15 minutes later, Kendra pulled into their driveway. The sight of Mia playing with her doll on the porch was a balm for her soul, a reminder of what truly mattered. Kendra stepped out, her heart softening, but uncertainty lingered. "Mommy! Look!" Mia exclaimed, launching toward her with the excitement only a child could muster. "I made her a dress. Isn't it pretty?" Kendra knelt down, wrapping her arms around Mia. It was a moment of pure joy, the kind that made her heart swell. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," she said, gazing at the swatch of fabric tied around the doll. "You're going to be a designer one day, I just know it." Mia beamed. "With sparkles, right?" "Of course. Every great designer needs sparkles." But her daughter's innocent excitement only deepened Kendra's conflict. As they settled onto the porch together, Mia's laughter filled the air, brightening the dusk. Kendra felt a flicker of guilt. How could she put this happiness at risk? Bringing Henry into their lives had to be more than just a pragmatic choice about funding. It could alter everything they had always known. Over dinner, Kendra tried to focus on the routine, asking Mia about school, about her friends, and about the endless stories she spun. But her mind began wandering again, thinking of Henry, of the hopes he ignited within her, and the fluttering question of what their collaboration might mean. That evening, as Kendra tucked Mia into bed, she finally whispered, "What would you think if I had a new friend who wanted to help our community? Maybe even help your school?" Mia looked up with curious eyes, her innocence ready to soak in the possibility. "Is he nice?" Kendra hesitated. "He's learning and I think he wants to be." "I hope he brings sparkles," Mia said, drifting into sleep. Laughing softly, Kendra kissed her forehead. But as she turned off the light and stepped back into the quiet of the house, the weight of doubt surged again. Could she trust Henry to be the ally they needed? Could her dreams transform into reality? Kendra sank into the living room chair, the shadows wrapping around her. She felt deeply conflicted. The journey ahead promised excitement and fear in equal measure. Would her leap of faith inspire hope, or would it put her heart in jeopardy? As the clock ticked softly, Kendra knew she had to decide soon. Tomorrow could change their lives and she needed to be ready if they were to face whatever was on the horizon together. Morning came quietly, a golden glow spilling through the curtains as Kendra prepared breakfast. The smell of pancakes filled the kitchen, mingling with the sound of Mia's light footsteps upstairs. Today was the day. She could feel it in her bones, an electric tension sparking through her thoughts, tying her stomach in knots. Kendra flipped a pancake and felt her heart race. She had promised Henry she would give him an answer today. That he should meet Mia. But as she poured syrup over the stack, anxiety washed over her. What if this ends badly? What if their worlds collided like oil and water? Would Henry understand the simple joys that made up her life? "Mornin', Mommy." Mia chirped, racing down the stairs with her hair tousled and a smile that sparkled brighter than the morning sun. "Good morning, sweet pea," Kendra said, pulling her daughter into a tight hug. The warmth of Mia's little body melted some of Kendra's fears away. "Pancakes are ready and guess what? I think we need a special day today." Mia's eyes widened with excitement, her mind spinning with possibilities. "Are we going to a park? Can we play with the dog? Are we going to? We might be meeting someone new," Kendra said, trying to gauge Mia's reaction. "Remember the friend I told you about? Is he the one with sparkles?" Mia asked, her innocence shining through. Kendra chuckled, ruffling her daughter's hair. "Not exactly. But he's nice. He wants to make our community better." Mia looked thoughtful, her brows knitting together for just a second. "Okay. I can show him my doll's dress." Somewhat reassured, Kendra nodded, but the tightness in her chest remained. They ate breakfast and laughed, but each smile faded slightly as the hour approached. Kendra glanced at the clock too often, counting down the minutes until Henry's arrival. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the doorbell rang. Each chime reverberated like a drum in her ears. Kendra exchanged a quick glance with Mia, who looked both eager and anxious, clutching her doll tightly. "Stay close," okay? Kendra whispered, more to herself than to her daughter as she opened the door. Henry stood there, looking the part of a community hero in a crisp button-up and a hopeful smile. His presence radiated potential, but to Kendra, it was like standing at the edge of a vast unknown. "Hey, Kendra. And this must be Mia," Henry said, crouching slightly to meet Mia's wide-eyed gaze. "I've heard a lot about you. I'm excited to meet the designer herself." Mia's cheeks flushed with pride. "I made a dress for my doll. Do you want to see?" "Absolutely." Henry beamed. As they stepped inside, Kendra felt a wave of mixed emotions wash over her. She watched as Henry knelt beside Mia, who excitedly presented her creation. In that moment, the initial tension felt almost silly. But then Kendra's mind began racing again, contemplating the future. Would this moment open up conversations that would inspire both Mia and Henry? Or were they simply greeting a stranger who would fade back into the periphery of their lives? "Your daughter has a bright imagination," Henry said, glancing up at Kendra, the sincerity in his eyes stirring something inside her. "Thank you," Kendra replied, her heart pounding. "I believe she is destined for great things." "Just like her mother," Henry added, a hint of admiration lacing his tone. Kendra felt a warmth spread through her. But the question loomed in the back of her mind. Was this just the beginning of something beautiful or a path to heartache? As laughter rang out in the living room, she couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Perhaps this melding of their worlds was less scary than she thought. But even amid the joy, an unsettling thought tugged at her. Could Henry's presence bring about a change that would shatter their delicate balance? As the afternoon wore on, the boundaries of their lives seemed to be reshaping, yet Kendra couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the brink of a roller coaster. And deep down, as they laughed, played, and dreamed together, Kendra knew that the hardest decisions were still to come. The afternoon sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow that brightened the living room as laughter intertwined with the playful atmosphere. Kendra watched Mia and Henry, her daughter's laughter ringing out like music, while Henry responded with chuckles of pure delight. But beneath the joy swirled a current of tension in Kendra's heart, a reminder of the question she had to face. "Can I help you make more dresses?" Mia asked, her eyes dancing with enthusiasm. A little voice inside Kendra offered a gentle challenge. What if this connection was meant to flourish? "Of course. I'll teach you everything," Henry replied, his smile genuine. He had already become a part of their little world in such a short time. Kendra felt amazement tint her thoughts, but insecurity nipped at her heels. Kendra took a deep breath, her nervousness bubbling up again. "Henry, about what we talked about," she ventured, and the air stilled. She could see a spark of curiosity in his eyes mixed with concern. "Oh, right. You had something on your mind," he said, his tone encouraging. She searched his expression, looking for signs of impatience or judgment. Instead, she found softness and respect. Henry had always exuded an air of confidence, but this was something more. He was offering her a safe space to let her fears spill. "It's just," Kendra struggled to find the words, "I want to make sure we're doing the right thing here. Mia she's everything to me. I just need to know if we're stepping into something meaningful or if it's just a fleeting moment," he finished for her, nodding. "That's it," she exclaimed, her voice rising in relief. "Mia's creativity is inspiring, and I'm here for it," Henry said, leaning forward slightly, his gaze locked on Kendra. "I wouldn't be pouring my time into this if I didn't believe it could lead somewhere wonderful for both of you." The sincerity in his words calmed her racing heart. "Honestly, I've been through challenges that have reshaped my outlook. I realize that together, we have the potential to make something special happen for our community," he continued. Kendra's worries began to unfurl as a vision of possibility blossomed. What if they worked together, found that spark Henry seemed to recognize? While Kendra mulled over the idea, Mia squealed, pulling Kendra's focus away. "Mommy! Can we make a dress for you next?" Her daughter's innocent excitement washed over Kendra, momentarily shielding her from the anxiety she felt. "Sure, darling. After we finish with your doll's dress." As the afternoon transitioned into evening, laughter filled every corner, creating the kind of warmth that felt like a tight embrace. Yet in the back of Kendra's mind hovered the sobering weight of potential choices. Could Henry truly be part of their lives for the long haul? Just then, as Henry helped Mia thread a needle, Mia beamed up at him, her little voice bubbling with joy. "I want to be just like you when I grow up, helping everyone." Kendra's heart swelled, a mixture of pride and fear intertwining. Could it really be that simple? That the people they invite into their lives could help shape their futures in unimaginable ways? Henry's glance caught Kendra's, filled with understanding. "Mia has a beautiful spirit. If she wants to help others, we can make that dream come true. We just need to nurture it together." But was nurturing this dream worth risking her heart? The question lingered as twilight embraced the room. With laughter still in the air, Kendra realized she was standing at the edge of a vast new chapter, the obstacles blurring into the potential that lay before them. As she watched Mia twirl around, a small part of Kendra let go of her fears, at least for a moment. But deep down, she also remembered that every choice carried weight, and the hardest decisions were still looming just ahead. Could she find the courage to embrace the possibilities, or would she retreat back to safety, shielding her heart from the unknown? As the world outside faded to darkness, Kendra felt the pulse of change knocking at the door, and it was only just beginning. The glow of the lamp flickered to life, casting a gentle light over the sewing table as Kendra arranged the fabric swatches. The quiet hum of the evening wrapped around them like a soft blanket, offering comfort yet thickening the atmosphere with unspoken thoughts. Mia was still bubbling with excitement, a burst of energy infused into the room. "Can we make it sparkly this time?" Mia asked, her eyes shining. Henry chuckled, his enthusiasm evident. "Absolutely. Sparkles it is. Just like your mom, full of sparkle." That made Kendra smile, though a tiny knot of doubt tugged at her thoughts. "You two make quite the dream team," she said, masking her anxiety with a light-hearted tone. As the evening progressed, their little sewing project transformed into a makeshift assembly line. Scissors snipped, threads were pulled, and laughter intertwined with the sounds of creativity. But Kendra's heart was still racing. The exhilarating rush Mia felt during their sewing session was one thing, but the weight of uncertainty threatened to choke her spirit. "Henry, can I ask you something?" Kendra hesitated, glancing at the remnants of their day. "What do you see for us beyond this? All the fun and laughter aside, where do you think we're headed?" Henry looked up from tying off a stitch, empathy washing over his features. "That's a fair question, Kendra," he replied gently, setting down his work. "And honestly, I see a lot of potential. I see joy. I see a chance for Mia to grow and for both of us to contribute something bigger than ourselves." Kendra nodded, struck by the simple yet profound truth of his words. The exhaustion that had settled in her bones felt lighter somehow, the remnants of yesterday's worries dancing away in the evening air. "But what if it doesn't work out?" Kendra's voice was barely above a whisper, vulnerability draping her words. "What if we end up hurt?" Henry's expression turned serious, yet compassionate. "You can't predict the future, Kendra. You can only embrace what you feel in the moment. Sometimes, the biggest risks can lead to the greatest rewards. Besides, you're not alone in this. I'm here. With you. And with Mia." A rush of warmth flooded Kendra's chest. In that moment, she felt a bridge forming, connecting them in a way she had longed for, yet feared. They weren't just sewing dresses, they were stitching together lives, bound by threads of hope and trust. Mia, sensing the shift in mood, looked between them, her little brow furrowing slightly. "Are you guys okay? Are we still making the sparkly dress?" Kendra chuckled softly, ruffling Mia's hair. "Yes, sweetheart. We're still making it. Right, Henry?" Always, he replied, a kindness in his voice that made Kendra's heart swell. As the night wore on, the sewing project evolved into an adventure. It wasn't just about fabric and thread, it was about dreams and laughter, binding together the uncertainty that had hovered so closely. With each passing moment, Kendra felt herself shifting. Maybe taking a leap wasn't so daunting when you had someone willing to hold your hand, but as they wrapped up their evening, a memory tugged at her. She thought of her past, the scars that lingered, the hesitation ingrained within. Could she really allow someone else into the sanctuary she had built for Mia and herself? While Henry gathered the scraps and tidied their workspace, Kendra caught sight of the delicate dress, a symbol of all that had transpired. The future stretched out before her, wide and wild, like a canvas waiting for vibrant color. With a heart full of mixed emotions, she looked at him. Henry, if we decide to dive deeper into this, there's something I have to be honest about. His gaze locked onto hers, a flicker of curiosity igniting in his eyes. I'm listening. As the night deepened and the stars glimmered outside, Kendra prepared to spill her truth, one that could change everything and perhaps reveal the real depth of what they could build together. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, a loud knock echoed from the front door. Startled, she exchanged glances with Henry, the air full of questions and the promise of unexpected twists. Who was it at this late hour? Are you expecting someone? Henry asked, concern knitting his brow. No. Kendra's voice quivered slightly. Should we check? The reality of the moment snapped back, and it felt like a jolt of electricity surged through them both. What unexpected visitor awaited them? Every instinct flared, a mix of trepidation and curiosity. Kendra's heart pounded as she approached the door. She could feel Henry close behind her, his presence comforting yet filled with intensity as they shared a moment of uncertainty. The knock echoed in her ears, each thud amplifying her nervousness. Mia, stay back a little, Kendra said, glancing at her daughter who stood wide-eyed, clutching a piece of fabric. Is it bad? Mia asked, her tiny voice trembling with curiosity and fear. I don't know, sweetie, Kendra replied, biting her lip to steady her nerves. She hesitated, placing her hand on the doorknob while stealing a quick look at Henry. His reassuring nod urged her to move. Drawing a breath, Kendra opened the door. Instantly, the cool night air rushed in, bringing with it the scent of rain-soaked earth. On the doorstep stood a figure she didn't expect, her neighbor, Mrs. Henderson. The older woman, usually full of chatter, seemed unusually shaken, a flicker of distress in her eyes. Mrs. Henderson? Is everything okay? Kendra asked, concern washing over her as she stepped aside to let the woman in. The neighbor stepped forward, rubbing her arms as if trying to ward off an impending chill. I'm so sorry to bother you at this hour, Kendra, she began, her voice trembling. There's been an accident. I didn't know who else to turn to. Kendra's stomach dropped. An accident? Is it someone we know? Mrs. Henderson took a deep breath. It's Paul, my husband. He tripped and fell in our yard. I think he may have hurt himself pretty badly. Kendra felt the world around her pause, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Paul was a kind man, always stopping to chat with Mia as she rode her bike. Oh no, is he conscious? I don't know. I just called an ambulance, but they won't be here for a while. I thought maybe you could help. Tears pooled in Mrs. Henderson's eyes. Kendra glanced at Henry. She could see his own concern reflected back at her. The question hung in the air: should they help? It was late, and they had Mia to think about too. But as Kendra looked into Mrs. Henderson's eyes, she knew they couldn't turn away. Of course, let us go, Kendra said, her voice steady despite her own rising anxiety. Are you sure? Henry asked, stepping closer. We can call a paramedic. It's not safe to just rush in. We can't leave her like this, Kendra interjected, feeling a rush of determination. Mrs. Henderson needs us. Let us go. Mia clutched Kendra's hand tightly. Can I come? Henry knelt down to meet Mia's gaze. It might be a little scary, kiddo. How about you wait here with me until we understand what's happening? Mia frowned but nodded, uncertainty etched across her little face. Kendra turned back to Mrs. Henderson, seeing the older woman's gratitude shine through her fear. Lead the way, Kendra urged, stepping out into the chilly night, following the stream of urgency that had taken over her heart. As they rushed across the lawn, Kendra's mind whirled. What if Paul was badly hurt? She thought of all the moments he shared with Mia, teaching her how to ride and sharing stories of the old neighborhood. They needed to help, and she needed to be strong. When they reached the Henderson home, the sight that met them still sent a wave of dread crashing over Kendra. Paul was on the ground, groaning quietly, and the shadows danced ominously around him. Stay calm, Paul, Kendra called out, bending to assess the situation. Help is on the way. Just then, a loud thud sounded nearby, not from the man on the ground but something else, something in the darkness beyond the trees. A rustling felt out of place, almost like another presence lurking. Kendra's pulse quickened, and the sensation of being watched crept up her spine. What was that? Henry whispered, his brow furrowing. Kendra's eyes darted toward the sound. I don't know, she murmured, dread pooling in her stomach. And just like that, the night took a turn toward the unknown. Whatever it was close. Facing an unforeseen challenge, Kendra's heart raced with the weight of uncertainty, and with every passing second, the shadows around them grew deeper. What was hiding in that darkness, just out of sight? Kendra knelt beside Paul, trying to focus on his needs even as her instincts screamed for her to be aware of her surroundings. Paul, can you hear me? Just hold on a bit longer, okay? Help is coming, she said, forcing herself to stay calm even when panic fought to surface. He opened his eyes slightly, the pain etched on his face. Kendra, what happened? His voice was barely above a whisper. A low groan escaped his lips, and Kendra's heart sank. I'm not sure, but you're going to be okay, she said, gripping his hand tightly. Just try to breathe. Focus on that. Mrs. Henderson? He mumbled as he turned his head. I'm right here, dear, Mrs. Henderson replied, her voice thick with worry. I called for help, they're on the way. Kendra glanced over her shoulder at Henry, who was scanning the perimeter of the yard, his body tense. Stay alert, she whispered to him, her stomach doing backflips. She wished they were just a family in the living room, watching TV, rather than players on this uncertain stage. Mom, I don't like this, Mia's voice piped from the doorway, thin and shaky. Kendra's heart tightened. Just a moment, sweetheart. Kendra called back, willing her daughter to stay inside, safe from whatever looming threat was out there, and then, that noise again, a rustling, followed by a snap of a branch, sending a shiver through her. Kendra's focus wavered as fear mixed with concern. Henry, what do you think it is? I don't know, maybe an animal? He replied, stepping closer. Even he sounded less convinced. Paul cried out in pain, his expression turning from fuzzy pain to dread. I can't move, Kendra. I need you to breathe, she said, kneeling closer to him, ensuring he stayed focused on her voice. Think about your wife. Think about getting back home to her. Paul, you'll be all right, Mrs. Henderson reassured him softly. But her voice was unsteady, betraying her own fear. Just then, the rustling became more pronounced, and Kendra's head whipped around. Shadows shifted in the dim light, long and twisted, looming like specters against the moonlit backdrop. A figure started to emerge, trudging through the underbrush. Who's there? Henry called, his voice firm but edged with anxiety. Henry, please, let us not provoke anything, Kendra said, gripping Paul's hand tighter. The figure stepped forward into the light, and Kendra's breath caught in her throat. It was a man, disheveled and wild-eyed, covered in mud and leaves as if he had been hiding in the woods. I need help. he shouted, his voice cracking. My friend, he stay back. Henry shouted, stepping between the newcomer and Kendra. The man raised his hands, panic evident. I didn't do anything. I'm just trying to find my way, my friend is hurt. Kendra's heart bounced between fear and empathy, torn by her primal instincts. What do you mean, your friend? She managed to ask. A soft whimper from the man made her chest tighten. He fell, deeper in the woods. Kendra's mind raced. Could they help another injured person without sacrificing their own safety? Henry, what do you think? Should we? Before she could finish, a loud crack echoed behind them. The ground beneath them seemed to shift, sending a clammy chill down Kendra's spine. What was that? They all murmured in unison, eyes wide with fear. Descriptions of a darkened forest and the unknown flooded Kendra's mind. Was danger about to be unleashed, not just around Paul but for them all? Just as anxiety began to mount again, the siren of an approaching ambulance wailed in the distance, promising rescue. But the uncertainty in the shadows just beyond persisted, leaving them suspended in a moment thick with tension. What other secrets lay hidden in the darkness? With Paul's groans echoing alongside a stranger's desperate cries, Kendra knew they had just scratched the surface of the night's challenges. And then, as chaos danced at the edges of their reality, Kendra held her breath, waiting for the next wave to crash upon them. Would they be prepared for what was next? The air thickened with uncertainty, each person frozen in their own thoughts as the sounds of the approaching ambulance faded into the tense silence. Kendra's mind raced, weighing the newcomer's plea against the safety of her family. What if this is a diversion? She thought, the primal instinct to protect her loved ones battling against a flicker of compassion. The man's wild eyes darted around, surveying each of them as if he'd only just noticed the gathering. I swear, he needs help. Please, you have to believe me. His voice cracked again, emphasizing the desperation in his posture. Henry, Kendra whispered, trying to keep her voice steady, let us hear him out. If someone's in danger. No. He snapped, eyes narrowing. We don't know who he is. We can't trust him. Kendra felt a surge of frustration. Paul's groans cut through the tension like a knife, reminding her why they were all there, the urgency to act despite their fears. But what if he is telling the truth? What if we can save someone's life? Mom Mia's voice trembled from the doorway, pulling Kendra's attention away from the unfolding standoff. What's happening? It's okay, Mia, Kendra called, her heart aching at the sight of her daughter, innocent and worried. She forced a smile, hoping to ease the growing dread in the girl's eyes. Just stay inside, okay? But Mia's tiny frame remained silhouetted in the doorway, unwilling to leave her mother's side. Kendra's heart fell as she caught sight of the fading light. They were not just vulnerable, they were also visible. Paul, she said, returning her focus to him, can you move your legs at all? I don't know, he gasped, sweat trickling down his forehead. I can't feel anything. Kendra inhaled sharply. Time was running out. Please. The man cried again, his voice rising in pitch, cutting through the murmur of the darkened woods. My friend could be hurt worse than he looks. Kendra's instincts screamed that they could be walking into a trap, yet she didn't want to ignore a call for help. Henry, she urged softly, maybe we could both go together? Just for a moment. I can't leave Paul, but we can't ignore this. We need to know. The tension in Henry's shoulders eased ever so slightly. Fine. But I'm watching you. No. You can't go alone. Paul insisted. I need both of you here with me. Please. His eyes shimmered with fear and pain, stirring Kendra's heart in ways she hadn't thought possible amidst the chaos. Stay with him. Kendra turned sharply to the man. We'll see what we can do. Stay right here. The man nodded, his panic momentarily replaced with relief. Kendra and Henry exchanged glances, the weight of their decision heavy in the air. "We'll be quick," she assured Paul, hiding the worry in her voice. As they stepped away, Kendra could sense Mia's gaze burning into her back. "Please be careful," her daughter whispered, a plea wrapping around Kendra's heart. "Always," she promised, even as doubt flickered in her mind. They crept towards the edge of the trees, the darkness swallowing them whole. Each step felt heavy with unseen eyes upon them, amplifying the fear coursing through her veins. "What if it's a trap?" Henry muttered, his voice tense. "What if it isn't?" Kendra replied, trying to quell the mounting dread in her chest. The shadows loomed closer as they plunged further into the unknown, the echoes of Paul's groans and the sirens fading into the distance. What awaited them deeper in the woods? Would they find a friend or face an even greater threat? The haunting rustles of the night enveloped them, and Kendra knew that some mysteries are meant to be uncovered, even if they had to brave the dark to find the truth. The night air was heavy with uncertainty as Kendra and Henry pushed cautiously through the trees. Each snap of a twig echoed ominously, but the urgency of the task at hand drove them forward. They couldn't ignore the possibility of saving another life. "What if he's leading us into danger?" Henry whispered, his voice taut with tension. Kendra shook her head, feeling the weight of their decision. "I know it's risky, but we can't abandon someone in need. We have to trust our instincts." They pressed further, the darkness swallowing them whole. Kendra's heart pounded with every footfall. Was this a noble quest or a reckless endeavor? But visions of her daughter and the community they fought for propelled her forward, determined to be a beacon of hope. Suddenly, they reached the end of the trees and emerged into a small clearing. The moonlight streamed down, illuminating a figure on the ground, crumpled and still. "Is that him?" Kendra gasped, instinctively rushing forward. "Yes." The man cried, desperation rushing into his voice. "He's hurt. Please help him." Kendra knelt beside the man, her heart racing. The sight was alarming. A young man lay unconscious, his leg twisted at an odd angle, blood seeping from a wound on his forehead. "Call for help," Kendra urged Henry. "We have to keep him stable until the ambulance arrives." Henry quickly pulled out his phone, but the signal flickered, failing to connect. "No service," he exclaimed, turning to Kendra, panic rising in his eyes. "Okay, we have to act quickly." "We can use a tourniquet. I saw one earlier in my car," she replied, her voice strong despite the cord of worry tightening around her. "I'll go get it," Henry said, already sprinting back through the trees. The young man groaned, reviving Kendra's focus. She pressed her fingers to his neck, searching for a pulse, relief washing over her when she felt a faint beat beneath her touch. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, trying to mask her fears with a calming tone. "Hold on, help is coming." As moments stretched into what felt like a lifetime, Kendra rubbed the man's arm, whispering words of comfort. She felt the world closing in the dark trees, the unknowns lurking, but right here, right now, life and death hinged on her actions. Finally, Henry returned, breathless and clutching the makeshift tourniquet. Together, they worked swiftly, applying pressure and stabilizing the man's injury, while the shadows loomed threateningly around them. Then, in another twisted turn of fate, the sound of sirens pierced the air, a herald of hope leaping through the tension like a bird breaking free. "They're coming!" Henry shouted, relief washing over his face, but even as comfort settled in, another rustle drew Kendra's attention. The wild-eyed man stood behind her, shifting in the shadows, eyes filled with something unreadable. "Did you call them? My friend needs immediate help." "It's on the way," Kendra called back, pushing down the creeping tightening in her chest. Everyone was scared, she had to keep her calm. Henry stepped protectively in front of Kendra. "You need to back away until the paramedics arrive." Kendra felt her heart beat in sync with the pulsing siren, a beacon illuminating the darkness. "No. Please. Just focus on him, my friend. He can't breathe." Kendra's heart raced again. Can you help him? With what? Henry stated, his voice filled with doubt as he eyed the man suspiciously. Kendra looked between them, feeling the urgency collect. He needs support, just like Paul. We can help him together. He deserves that chance. In that moment, something shifted in Henry. The weight of their situation hung heavy. Okay. We'll stick together. But we need to trust each other. As the ambulance finally burst onto the scene, lights flashing, their world widened. Amid the chaos, Kendra felt a flicker of hope glow inside her, fueled by her determination to help others. Over here! She yelled, waving her arms. We have 2 injured. Please help. The paramedics jumped into action, and doctors clamored towards both injured men. The tension began to dissipate, replaced by a wave of relief. If you hadn't come, the man stammered, tears shimmering in his eyes, he might not have made it. We all need each other, Kendra replied, wiping her brow but refusing to let go of the emotions swirling within. This had been bigger than she'd ever imagined. As the chaos erupted around them, Henry turned to her, their eyes locking. What do we do now? He asked. I think, she breathed, we begin to build something better. A bridge between all our worlds. Mia's voice floated into the clearing, breaking the haze of adrenaline. Mom! She called out, stepping forward with Mrs. Henderson, whom Kendra hadn't noticed until now. Are you okay? Kendra rushed to her daughter, kneeling in front of her. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a little adventure. Mia's eyes sparkled with innocent awe, and Kendra knew that they weren't alone in this. Their community was connecting, growing stronger. As Kendra turned back to the scene, her heart swelled with pride. They were starting to transform more than just lives, they were beginning to reshape futures. Suddenly, an idea sparked, blooming within her like a new dawn. Henry, what if we created workshops, something for our community? We can implement real change and foster understanding. Together, we can mobilize our resources to help not just Paul, but everyone who needs it. Henry watched her, admiration flickering in his eyes. You're right. Empowering our community is the way forward. You've inspired me, Kendra. With a rush of hope, Kendra felt the blossoming realization that together, they could bridge the gap between wealth and need. As the last of the sirens faded into the distance and hands gripped each other tightly, Kendra looked around at the faces illuminated by the moonlight. In that moment, she felt an overwhelming connection to all of them, her community, her family, and yes, even a newfound ally in Henry. They would rise together, and she knew this was just the beginning. Now, it's your turn to be part of this journey. You need to subscribe now to catch more inspiring stories that will warm your heart. Leave a like if you believe in the power of community and transformation. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this journey. Let us share in this together, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible change. Show your support, because together, we can change lives.